I really think that this might be Fousey's final downfall, and it might honestly just. It almost feels like his internet career is cemented to be over completely now.
To suffer more, this will die too. Well, gotta go. I'm almost at the bridge now. Oh shit, I forgot. How am I supposed to send this shit out?
So what I'm talking about is Fousey recently went on a Manic episode with Keemstar, and I think once more it's hard because as someone who I just feel really bad for Fousey because he's been open, vulnerable. I haven't been watching his streams, but I've watched him on the H3 podcast, the Jeff Wittick podcast, the Bradley Martin one. He's just such an open person, and it's hard to see all this happening to him because at the end of the day, it's almost all self-inflicted, and it's also hard because it's almost like Fousey's almost like the definition of the conversation about mental health on the internet. Because on one hand, you see people always being like, mental health is important, go seek therapy, go do this, go do that. Then FouseyTube shows his flaws, and it's like, it's just like, it's over. Now, when it comes to the situation with the girl in the airport, now go search up that clip. Apparently, some channels are getting in trouble if they even show that clip, so I'm not even gonna attempt to. But in the clip, to explain quickly, he was at a bar in an airport, and there was a girl who was drunk, and to help her, he sends her, I think it was $300, maybe more, probably more, honestly. I don't remember. He even shows it on his phone that he cash apped her. And then after that, it is, at least allegedly, they had the Devil's Tango. And a lot of people were like, yo, Fousey, you took advantage of this girl. He's been saying that he didn't. Although his therapist confirmed that he did on a live stream by accident. And it's just like, Fousey many times has tried over and over and over again to come back. And it seems like this time it almost feels like that's it. And I know he signed a kick deal and he's going to make monies, but it almost seems like he's back to, because what happens is every year, and it feels like it's a yearly thing at this point. Every year he has this major downfall. He does something that just gets him on his downfall, and then boom, that's it. That's over. And then he makes a major comeback. Everyone's loving him. And then once again, he does something dumb. But in this scenario, it almost feels like something different's happening. I feel like this kick deal now incentivizes Fousey to do what I think is harming him right now, and that's live streaming yourself 24/7. You heard me right. For those who don't watch Fousey right now, he live streams for 24 hours and 7 days of the week. He live streams himself showering. Now, I think he covers, I don't know what he does, but I assume he just has a camera positioned somewhere else. He live streams himself sleeping. He does everything. And I think honestly one of his issues is he's so focused on the internet fame that's really has gone to him. But it's not just that it's gone to him now, it's that it's been there with him for over a decade. And I think that really is what needs to be talked about more. Because he's focused his life on doing the internet. He's moved to LA to be part of the influencer culture. He's done all of it. And I think it's really affected him being on this game for that long and still trying to constantly be successful. And I think honestly, it's just concerning because look at how he reacted to everything. Someone shouldn't be acting like that all the time, and it feels like it's an all the time thing. And the thing is, I do feel bad for Yusuf. I feel bad for Fousey because he's a flawed person who has his issues, who's depressed. He's had people harass and shit on him for over a decade now. You know, He's been seen as a traitor by the Muslim community. He got exposed for his fake pranks. He had commentary channels. I think the beginning of Fousey's downfall really began when commentary channels became a thing, because commentary channels really gained attraction in 2016. That was when commentary channels began a new era. H3H3, Leafy, Fousey, or not Fousey, Rice Gum. Although Rice Gum was a little later, but then you had iDubbbz. You had so many commentary channels rise. Then later on, you got like Diesel Patches. You got Jamari. You got a lot of these channels then all of a sudden popping out. And that was really when prank content fell down. But I think one thing that people also took too much is that commentary channels, and it's not their fault, but a lot of people who follow commentary channels almost take that person's word super serious. And so when commentary channels were making prank channels to look like devils, because they really weren't really. I mean, they were dumb pranks, and you were fake, but really at the end of the day, they didn't harm anyone. In fact, I would even say sometimes some fake pranks are better than real ones, because some real ones just end up being harassing people at like a fucking Walmart. You know, I love prank channels. I love Balin, Levine, Loaf, Gideon, Canal, but sometimes there's like some pranks that are just like, oh my god, you're going too far. It's like, you might as well just fake it, because this ain't even funny, bro. And I think all of that began his downfall and his spiral out of control, where he was all of a sudden this hated guy by everyone. He was made fun of. He got shit on, and his insecurities were out there. He lost his fights. He's lost everything. Constantly, he does something that gets him in trouble. The Bryce Hall incident, everything, just over and over and over. And I think really it's just consumed him. And the thing is, I don't know how much longer this is gonna last, because I'm honestly concerned that he is going to commit toaster bath. Because what's gonna happen now is he right now has this new deal, meaning that he is now incentivized to do those live streams more often. And I believe the internet has so much of a control on him that it makes him want to do dumb things. It makes him do silly things. It makes him go back. And then he's talked about his addiction. He had a drinking addiction. He had a sex addiction. He's had so many addictions to all of these things. And it's, the thing is, I know people are going to get mad at me because I don't know how to explain this. Because look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a mental health therapist. I'm not anything. I'm just some random fucking guy talking on the phone, you know. But it's like, it's still like, I'm just so concerned, because I genuinely believe what's gonna happen is Fousey right now has hate, but I think because of his daily live streaming and him wanting to do things outlandish, I think what's gonna happen is eventually something big's gonna happen. But in a couple of days, weeks, months, even a year, I don't know. And I genuinely think it's gonna be his final downfall. Maybe Kick will take out their deal, and he'll just want to end it himself, because he's talked about that so much openly. And I appreciate Fousey, honestly, for being open, because I think a lot of the things he talks about are things you really don't find anywhere. Like, I rarely hear anyone talk about sex addiction. And I think it's really, really, like, I applaud Fousey so much for that. I do applaud him for being vulnerable, you know, because I think we need more of those kinds of people. I think they're good, because I think people really need to listen to certain people's lives. I think that's important. But honestly, Fousey, I don't think the streaming is doing well for you. Honestly, if I was Fousey, what I would do right now is I would change up. I mean, what I would do if I was Fousey is I'd have a podcast where I live streamed. Yeah, I think that really would have done well. I think he loves talking to people. I think he loves talking to his audience. I don't think him streaming himself in public, or sleeping, or peeing and pooping, or whatever, is doing him any favors at all. Or what he could do is do a daily vlog. I think he could do both, but I don't know, man. Like, it's just like I'm seeing everything happen with him and listening to him with Fousey. And by the way, Keemstar is a shitty person. Keemstar is a shitty person, and I think it's crazy that everyone acknowledges that but doesn't do much about it. Like, I think that's one of the weird things. Like, it's funny because I think a lot of things that Keemstar does. And by the way, I don't think he killed Etika. He didn't. And if you think that, then you might just be a bit immature. I think he handled the Etika situation poorly, but he did not kill Etika. That was not him. Don't say that. But still, I think Keem may be part of a problem with Fousey. But at the same time, I think one thing Fousey doesn't really do a lot is I think he when a situation's happening, I think it takes him a very long time to figure out that he's a part of the problem. But at the same time, it's just so hard because Fousey is so flawed and he's dumb things. But at the same time, I think people overreact with him to this major scope, and I really think it all began once the prank era ended, or at least that kind of prank era. I think now we have a new prank era. Honestly, Fousey could do that if he wanted to, you know, or just do vlogs. I love doing vlogs. I have fun with them. I think maybe he could have fun with them too, but I don't know, bro. It's just such a hard conversation to have. And I think what's harder about it is that most of the people that shit on him are like people who don't know what it's like to have mental health issues, or either like young teenagers in high school who don't know what Fousey's going through and all that. They just see the money he has, and I don't know, man. It's just so hard, bro. It's so hard because I really want to see Fousey succeed. He seemed genuine, he seemed nice, but when you do things like that, you know, to that girl, it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard. I'm very mixed with the Fousey stuff. I think I think I think it should be a reflection to what the internet can do to a person. I was talking about this in the Little Tay video I made. Not only do I have to be worried about people bullying teenagers or kids online, but we also have to think about the adults. There's too many people, and I'm going to say this right now, and no one wants to hear me say this, but there's too many people on the internet who have no empathy, who have no sympathy, who don't care about others. And I genuinely think there's people who want to see other people's downfalls. I think on the internet, it's so easy to look at someone on the screen and think, oh, there's just some NPC who's just there to entertain me. And I think that's something that a lot of you guys don't care about. That's a lot of things that a lot of people on the internet just don't give a fuck about. It's always just, who's the next person we can shit on? Oh my god, they made this tiny mistake. Oh my god, let's now make their life miserable. It happens all the time. Someone will make the tiniest mistake and it's boom. Because all of this began because Fousey made fake pranks. Who the fuck gives a fuck? Why is it that we cared so much? I get revealing that they are fake. I think everyone should know they're fake. But like, who cares? At the end of the day, fake pranks weren't even all that bad. And it all led to now all of this happening. You know? And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people on the internet just don't give a fuck. Just don't give a fuck. I'm sorry, but some of the most naggy ass people I've ever talked to on the internet are people who don't even do YouTube themselves. They'll be like, oh, well, you should do this, you should do that. It's like, bro, you don't even do YouTube yourself. Who are you talking? Like, I listen to criticism, but like at some point it gets annoying. And I feel like Fousey, like imagine being Fousey, who's done this for over a decade, who got exposed now almost a decade ago. And now his life is just everyone shitting on him, everyone talking bad about him. It's like, what do you think is going to happen? When you treat someone like a villain, they're going to become a villain. I think, honestly, that's what happened a lot with the Kanye situation. I think people shat on Kanye so much that eventually, I think he said, I don't give a fuck. I guess now I'm going to become a Nazi because might as well. You know, you're already seen as this bad guy. Now make it even badder. I think Kanye is also another conversation. He's bipolar, I believe. And I feel like mental health is something that isn't being talked about right, because usually the people talking about mental health are usually like teenage white girls who are talking about how sad they are that a guy broke their hearts. It's like mental health is far more than that. Mental health is far more than that. And I don't know. I think honestly the internet has created a lot of brain dead, terminally online people who care way too much about dumb things. Dumb, silly things. Whether you're a Snyderverse fan, whether you're someone who hates Spider-Man Lotus, whether you're someone who shits on FouseyTube, whether you're a Keemstar dick writer, whether you're someone who thinks Leafy is breaking out of the Matrix, whatever you are, I genuinely think a lot of you motherfuckers are just annoying, you know? And at the end of the day, I think it's such a bigger conversation to be had, you know? It's a bigger conversation to be had that no one really wants to get into, you know? But that's all I gotta say, man. Honestly, that's all I gotta say. Sorry if I got too frustrated there, but it's just like I look at the Fousey stuff, and it's like I really feel like Fousey's a product of just endless harassment. He's a product of that. And that needs to be talked about more. Fousey's made his mistakes. We should criticize him. But at some point, everything... It's crazy because people talk about they care about mental health. Why was it that in 2018, he openly said he wanted to kill himself, and people memed the fuck out of that? People memed Fousey openly saying he wanted to kill himself. Like, that's absurd. That's absurd to me. Imagine if you had a friend of yours who said he wanted to do that to himself. Are you going to react the same way? No. But again, I think the internet has given people power to people who wouldn't get that in the real world. You know? That's why you see the internet ran by a lot of teenagers. You know, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, or whatever. All of it is ran by them. Morals is ran by them. And I think that led to Fousey's downfall. I really think that's what happened. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one. Well, obviously I gotta say goodbye.